Okay, question 7. So solve for between minus 180 to 180. Tan of x minus 40 equals 1.5, and we want the answer to one decimal place. Okay. So this is a tricky equation where we need to think carefully what's going on here. It's not just tan x or tan theta, it's x minus 40, and it's between these two things. So the first thing that we need to do here is change our range. So if our range for x is minus 180 to 180, our change for x minus 40 is going to be minus 220 to 140. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a sec. So the next thing we do is start to work through this. We're going to do tan to the minus 1 of 1.5, and remember that is in degrees, 180 degrees, there's no pi's of anything there, so it's not radians, so make sure that you've got a capital D at the top up there. Okay, so we're going to do shift, tan to the minus 1, 1.5, and that tells us we've got 56.3 as our solution to now go and find the rest of the answers. So this means, remember, that that's our kind of first solution, our positive solution. So now let's have a little look at the graph of tan. Now the graph of tan, when we start there and it goes up to an asymptote at 90, comes down and comes back up here, and it will stop there at 180. So it will go down there to an asymptote at minus 90 and come down there to finish at minus 180. Okay, so there's my tan graph, and it's a positive one. So if I draw a line across at 1.5, I've got two answers. I've got there and I've got there. Okay, so let's have a little think though about our range, because remember at the minute we're not working directly in x, we are now figuring out solutions for x minus 40. So let's look at the range of solutions for x minus 40. Well, let's look at the top end, because that's quite easy. It's got to be less than 140. Well, if that's 90, this answer here is less than 90, so that one's fine, and then there's no more after that. That's sound. This one is got to be bigger than minus 220. It is bigger than minus 220, but what we need to think about is, because we're looking for where this carries on to, because we're looking at going above minus 220, is there anything between this point and 220, whatever that is along the x-axis, where I'm going to get another solution? So let's just check that by continuing the graph. If I continue the graph down there, it means that I will get to my asymptote, which will be at minus 270. So I won't hit a positive part of the graph until after minus 270. So those are my two answers. I'm not going to get another one there. Okay, so that tells me that this answer, which is in the first quadrant, means that x minus 40, which is affecting my solution, is just 56.3. And x minus 40 will also be in this quadrant. Well, that's the second negative quadrant, isn't it? So that's going to be minus 180 plus 56.3. So I can figure those two things out. So x will be 56.3 add 40, which is 96.3. And then 56.3 minus 180 plus 40 gives us minus 83.7. Okay, so those are your two answers there. Right, part B. Well, actually, sorry, is that A2? I can't tell on the thingy for that way. So that's that part 1 and part 2 of A, and that's part B. Anyway, basically show that this can be written like this. So show that sine theta tan theta equals 3 cos theta plus 2 can be written as that quadratic. Okay, so let's have a little think. At the minute, we do not have any squares in there at the minute, so we can't use sine squared plus cos squared equals 1 just yet. So let's think about the other original kind of trig identity that we use, which is tan is sine over cos. So let's swap that tan out for the sine over cos. So this becomes sine theta times sine theta over cos theta equals 3 cos theta. Now, because these things are being multiplied, that's going to give me sine squared theta over cos theta. I'm starting to get somewhere now, and I can see I'm going to get sine squared there, which means I can use cos squared sine squared for 1. I'm also going to multiply out the fraction, so I'm going to get sine squared equals this side times by cos theta. So that's going to give me 3 cos squared theta plus 2 cos theta, and then I can swap that out for 1 minus cos theta, can't I? Cos squared theta, sorry. Get everything over to one side so it equals 0. 3 cos squared theta, add this cos squared theta will give me 4 cos squared theta plus your 2 cos theta minus 1. Okay, so I've made it equal this, just mine's got the 0 at the front instead of the 0 at the end. Right, and then part B, I want to solve that basically. It does this a lot in your exam, so kind of get used to this. Notice what it's asking you to do there is to solve this equation, and what we've just done then is say, well, that equation can be written like that. So if I solve that equation, I am solving this equation. These two things are the same thing. Okay, so 4 cos squared theta plus 2 cos theta minus 1 equals 0. Right, it's quadratic, isn't it? X squared, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So let's use the calculator to solve that, to get down to what our cos thetas are going to equal. So I've got 4 cos squared theta plus 2 cos theta minus 1. So my solutions are going to be that cos theta equals 0.31, and cos theta equals minus 0.81. Okay, so and we want these, remember, for between 0 and 360. So let's figure out there, if I do cos to the minus 1 of 0.31, what's that going to give me? Got 72. Now let's consider the cos graph. We want this between 0 and 360, so when the cos starts up there, it's going to bottom out at 180 and come back up there for 360. Okay, so this first one, the 0.31, is positive, isn't it? Which means I'm going to get it in the first quadrant, which is going to give me 72. I'm also going to get it in the last quadrant, which means I'm going to get 360 minus 72. So I'm going to get there that theta equals 72, and that theta equals 360 minus 72, which is 288. So there's my two answers there. This one, I'm going to do cos to the minus 1 of 0.81. Remember, you don't put in the negative there. We express that it's negative by considering which quadrants it falls in. So we shift cos to the minus 1 of 0.81, and that gives me 36. This time it's negative, so I'll get these two quadrants. I get that one there, which is 180 minus 36, and I get that one there, which is 180 plus 36. So that gives me 144. 180 plus 36, which gives me 216. So those are my four answers there. So you get 72, 144, 216 and 288.